are in the Munro. We are with Erdinger. It is Friday night. It actually is Friday night on this one, even though it's a Saturday kickoff. It's a Saturday 8 o'clock. Shaun, Liverpool on back-to-back Saturday 8 o'clocks. How are you feeling about it? How do you feel your relationships are going to be at the end of it all? What's your general outlook?
I'm sort of thinking about the hangovers. Like that's what I'm thinking about it, and it scares me a little bit. I think it's unfair on our families that we've got 2 8 o'clocks Saturday nights in a row, if I'm being honest.
Back-to-back 8 o'clock Saturday.
Back-to-back 8 o'clocks in a row. And a Wednesday game thrown in between, which, you know, to my better half, she doesn't know that we're not playing Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? So it's it's interesting, but it's good fun, isn't it? It's what it's all about.
Phil Blundell works Sundays, albeit late-ish.
We've got a 5 on Sunday. It's absolutely laughing.
You've got a 5 o'clock start on Sunday?
5 o'clock. No, 4, because I forgot the American clocks have changed, haven't they? So I've lost an hour, but I gain it on the way back. No, it's ours that changed, sorry. Yeah, they changed theirs a week later, sorry.
Okay.
But stupid admin point for you there if you're worried about American times. Which I presume you're not. But yeah,
public service announcement.
It's going to be too hard Sunday nights when it gets to about 10 o'clock, and I've got a 2 to 3 hour poke left.
I'm going to say you're going to have to find another gear.
Yeah. There's going to have to be some Just Eat delivery or something to power me through.
There is with all of this, Kev. We are always in this to enjoy ourselves. I quite like a random weekend, have a late one, throw it in there and see where you end up. It's the 2 back-to-back that's in my head. Like, almost like, can you win 2 on the bounce? Like, it's going to in some way impact it sportingly. Yeah. It can't. That cannot be true. But there's all of this. You don't get many of these over the course of a season.
Yeah, it is worrying. It's positive that we've had such a good result this midweek, another late midweek. And I'm a believer in the old sports science thing of the team is prepared for these late night games. They've looked at this run and they'll probably have changed their nap times and their, you know, all that sort of stuff. So I think we'll be fine. I'm looking forward to this one because it's been weird recently. I know we've been in a bit of a rut with the 4 defeats in a row, but I've still yearned to watch the Reds every single day, if you know what I mean. And usually I'm usually in that moment when we're absolutely flying and we're doing well. But I'm almost in that moment where I just want to see us do well. I want to see the improvement. So I know that the pattern of the games has been really difficult, particularly Chelsea and United, where we weren't playing fantastic for 90 minutes, but I still really want to see us play well.
Is that because you still believe in the players?
100%, and the manager. I mean, the coaching staff have just come off the back of a title, and there's huge merit in that. It's not a fluke, no matter what the media is going to tell you. And the players are all superstars. I mean, the signings that we've made are fantastic, and I know there's a lot of ire, particularly in the direction of Kerkez, but I think that's just because we've not really seen what he's going to be doing as a Liverpool player. We've not quite figured that out. I quite enjoyed the press conference today where Arne Slot says, well, those relationships are still being built. They've had to have a word with Cody and say, look, you are very good at cutting inside and scoring goals, but there's often a man there on your outside that you can pass to. It's those relationships that we need to build.
It's interesting that I thought it was one of the most interesting bits of the press conference, but also because it made me think there was a bit of criticism for Robertson around the first goal midweek. He plays a great ball for Ekitike. I think in the round, Robertson plays well at Frankfurt, Phil. But I'm not that far away from just beginning to wonder if, at least so far this season, left back for Liverpool's been the most thankless job on the pitch. You've not got a lot of encouragement to get past all round your wide man in front. The midfielder who's been inside you often hasn't quite been at the level that you'd like him to be on a regular basis. You are just slightly cut adrift a little bit, whichever of them it is. And one of them's at the start of his career and the other one's towards the end of his elite career. So it just means it's quite easy to sort of go, well, he's not doing very well, in whichever direction it goes.
Yeah, and I think it hasn't really helped with Kirk, as he seems to be far more involved in like deep build-up than he was last season. Like, you think about him last season, you remember, I think the thing that stands out for me from him last season was he got an assist away at Tottenham, where he picks the ball up on the edge of his own box, he runs about 50 yards and he just whips this ball to the back post. We haven't seen that because he sort of hasn't been given the freedom to do it. And I want to see him have a bit more freedom to do that. But then I suppose because of the way we play, it means there's less likely someone able to fill in for him and cover the space. And that's the kind of thing that comes over time with the relationships. Like, they can't just all suddenly you can't just put 4 or 5 new players on a pitch in a new system and everyone knows exactly what they're doing. I think that we sort of just assumed that everything would click and work from day one, and that was, if we're being honest, that was probably never going to happen. And to win the first 5, 6, 7, how many, depending on all competitions you want to call it, was pretty impressive in the circumstances, the whole circumstances of the summer. So we just sort of got to take a bit of a step back, look at things, and be a bit sensible about everything, and not get carried away with various things in a negative.
I completely agree, because you've got like the same group of people who celebrate transfers like the goals are now calling for the transfers that we've made to never play again. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or saying how bad they are because, or tell them to get up the team or play this, like put Robertson back in, by the same people who were saying that Robertson's finished last year. It frustrates the life out of me, to be honest, and I know I go on about it a lot, but like we've got it, like manage or supporting Liverpool is it's almost like this thing where you've got to always just keep the faith with them, keep the faith with the manager that's just won the league, keep the faith with the players who, you know, are superstar players by all accounts, and just sort of like let things play out. And I think what we've seen over the last 4 or 5 games, and which whilst that hasn't been pretty, it reminds me that like football and winning games when you're the top team and is a habit, just like losing games is. So you win, you forget what it's like to even, all right, the odd draw in there, but you forget what it's like to lose. And all of a sudden, the psychological side of things goes, oh, that wasn't good. And then you're thinking about it the next game, and then it just builds this thing. So the most important thing we could have done on Wednesday was just put that to an end and get back into winning ways. Because even just as a fan, the psychological shift in your brain just feels completely different. I was thinking about Brentford last week after the United game, thinking, oh my God, that feels like the worst game on the planet. Do you know what I mean? That's the last game you want to go to at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. Now I'm like, yeah, 8 o'clock, Brentford, why not? Let's do it. So imagine what they're feeling like as players, do you know what I mean? So I think everyone just needs to chill a little bit. And I know it's difficult in this day and age when every single pass and touch gets analysed to death, but you just got to remember, this is the team that won us the league last year by a canter, do you know what I mean?
I think as part of that, what we get on Wednesday, Shaun, is a reason to, for a couple of them where it had never properly gone away, but a genuine sort of reason to believe. That's why I said to Kev before about, well, you like the players. That's one of my things at the minute. I don't think the players have always been helped by maybe selection or approach decisions made by the manager so far, or the coaching staff so far this season. That's not to say he's become a terrible manager overnight. It's just that occasionally these fellas get a thing or two wrong. Yeah. They have to get a thing or two wrong, otherwise the sport would be endlessly perfect. Yeah. But all of that said, Szoboszlai's been excellent all the way through the campaign by any way you want to rate it. You know, I come out the other night just buzzing over Jones, but then that's not the first time. Buzzing over Wirtz, but not the first time. But the first time where you maybe got to see it with the results, with the goals that you sort of want to feel. And there was a couple of others in there as well, performances which I think you're able to hang a little bit of a hat on and sort of say, well, these are good players, they're just good players, and give them the opportunities and they're going to work loads out.
That's it. And I think the manager says in his press conference, doesn't he? He said, you know, we've created as many chances in the Frankfurt game that we created in the Man United game. You know, the difference is we go 3-1 up and we're able to shut up shop. And I think that's something that we haven't done this season, which has been frustrating. We've had to sort of we've been hanging on, which creates chances for the opposition, or we've been scoring last minute, which means that we're pushing up and leaving the door open. Whereas you go 3-1 up, you can just shut up shop, you can play the passes, and I think...
Knock the ball around for a bit.
Exactly, knock the ball around for a bit. And obviously that's what hasn't been great about those first 7 wins. Like, it didn't really happen, did it? Do you know what I mean? Whereas now we can say, look, we've got that in the locker. Like, when you go 2 up, go 3 up, or when you go 1-0 up, go 2 up, and just make sure you've got that solid foundation there. Like, I think it got mentioned in the press conference that Jones made the most passes a Liverpool players made in the European game since 2003. Like, that's just wild, isn't it? But it shows what you can do and how good these players are when you get to that position of being too clear.
I think with them, what they get to learn from Wednesday night, or not even learn, let's be honest, just remember, is, as Shaun's saying, it's just an easier game when you're winning. You know, it really is. It's just an easier game when you're winning, because you can therefore say, well, you know what, that ball might not be on this time, so we'll just recycle and we'll start again. Oh, this time it is on. Correct, let's go for it. Or now this risk is more worth taking. I just thought that's what we saw in the second half, up to and including, you know, Szoboszlai's drive. You know, he's able to relax into putting his foot through the ball. It's put on a plate for him, and there he finds it. And it's a lovely goal. But everything just became a bit easier.
Yeah, I think that goal in particular was the one that felt like a real team goal, even though it was a long distance effort. Usually the team goals are the ones that are tap-ins, but that felt like a lovely build-up, I think, from the left-back position, and then it works its way forward, and then they seem to understand each other's movement perfectly, and you get that little glimpse into what things will be, not could be, will 100% be. It is just going to take time. And it's funny because I think the press have been coming pretty hard at Arne Slot, and he's basically made hints in his last press conference for United, I think, to say, look, no more excuses. But you can make excuses. The game plan went out the window against United because we conceded so early. the game plan went against us at Galatasaray because we got a pen that was a very soft pen against us. We go a goal down, and it's that thing of the mentality dropping. I think.
The thing with that though, and where this gets difficult, because I'm both for and against this argument, because the reason why I'm against
excuses.
I don't think they're excuses, I think they're explanations and that's different things.
Me too.
And I think it's important sort of frame them that way, but what I mean is part of why they can be seen as excuses, or begin to feel like excuses, is when you end up with 4 of these on the bounce.
Yeah.
Because they had hard lines at Palace,
Yeah.
in that the game was really, really even, and then they conceded, it wasn't even a corner, by the way, we've all forgotten that when it wasn't a corner, they conceded from that corner because it ricochets off Gravenberch and falls to their lads right in front of goal. The first shot from Palace, and that's hard lines. Now, they're terrible until half time, and that's always the flip side of this, Kev. But you're able to look at that one, you can look at Galatasaray, you can look at Chelsea, where, they should do better with the shot, closing it down, but it's still a 25-yarder. And then you can look at the game against United, where it's first minute and there's a lad on the floor.
Yeah.
In all these places, there's an explanation. If you spread them over a season, we're all going, this stuff happens in footy. When you get them 4 games on a bounce, this is where I think people begin to decide they're hearing them as excuses, to be fair.
Yeah, and you got an idea of that from Arne Slot after the United game, because he didn't look tired, but he looked bereft. He looked a bit like, oh, for fuck's sake, because he knew that we'd outplayed United. We're a lot better than them. We had more chances than them. The game plan was going well, other than us conceded the second goal, which was unfortunate from a set piece, no less. But it felt like he was coming out and being like, how can I explain this again? Another game where we've been absolutely dominant and we've not won it. I think that the Frankfurt result's a really positive one taking us into the weekend, because that's probably not going to happen. I can't see the team resting on their laurels. I think that it's another one where they've had the excuse of being in Europe and getting through that game. I think they'll be really, really up for this one to prove, look, that wasn't a blip, that wasn't an easy team. This is another tough team that we're facing, which I'll remind you is very weirdly a top 25 European team in the ELO index. If we're going off form alone, it's the quality in the Premier League is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it is insane that you think about an away game against a team who'll finish in the bottom half of the Premier League is harder than a Champions League game.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah, basically on par with sort of Atalanta. I think that those 23rd and 24th, something like that in the league. So, like you say, it's not excuses. It's just explaining what's going on. We have got a really tough team against another low block, another really tall team, another really physical team. But I think that the outcome will be different this time.
I'll go back to what we were talking about before around the players and perception and stuff. I'm absolutely with you. There's no excuses. You can't be a Liverpool team and lose 4 games in a row. You can't lose 3 games in a row. Arguably, you can't lose 2 in a row. Do you know what I mean? But that's not because these are bad players. That's because these are very good players. Yeah. And that's why there's no excuses. That's why we should be angry, because they're good, not because they're bad. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's just quite. It's you just want to see something tomorrow, really, don't you? In terms of they've adjusted a little bit, I think, because we know what's coming. The thing with Brentford is, you know exactly what is coming. They're going to be direct. They're going to try and work the balls into the position of maximum opportunity and go from there. And we've got to basically deal with that threat and take our chances. It would be absolutely incredible if we get in it goal first 15, because it would make their life so much harder.
I agree.
Because
I think that's key. That
they can't push. Yeah. I'm getting to the point where I would just like to see us score the first goal. Even if we get beat 3-1, I'll deal on scoring the first goal. I just quite like to be 1-0 up, because it's been a while since we were 1-0 up, and it makes football become so much easier when you're winning.
What it does, actually, before we go to the break, Phil, what I think it does is there's a lot of teams who are playing against us in a specifically percentage style. Now, I want to be clear, I think that's an inaccurate characterisation of Crystal Palace, and especially Crystal Palace's first half, maybe more the second half. But Palace's first half was a surgical idea, once they got 1-0 up, as to how they were going to get at Liverpool. So I don't want to disrespect Glasner or all those players. They were more than capable of doing it. But I think that the other style, the style of going long, it's interesting. Newcastle did it loads, but they were down to 10 men, and they were 2-0 down, and then they got a bit of encouragement from that goal. So you just keep doing that then, because you haven't really got any other options. My point about this is, if you get ahead in those games and you look after the ball well, when the opposition get it back, they can't just send it forward on a wing and a prayer. You can send it forward on a wing and a prayer when you're 1-0 up, but if you're 1-0 down and you're just starting to blam it down channels and you get nowhere with it, it becomes a lot less valuable, because the whole point then is, well, we've got it back, and it might be 3 minutes before you touch it again.
Yeah, there's an element of sort of where the teams are trying to narrow a gap by making it a bit more random and creating second balls. There's one of the things that set pieces is they are everyone has always known set pieces as a leveller. So people have obviously looked at them and gone, well, hang on, well, if the poorer sides can do that, why can't the better ones? And it is quite interesting how it's happened, but it's about working the ball into the area where you're most dangerous. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. It's like someone's gone, well, the ball needs to be there that many times in the game for us to win. Guardiola's idea of that is we'll pass it around loads and just work the ball there and work the ball there and we'll suffocate them. Whereas most teams can't play like that. So they're like, well, we'll just get the ball in there and see what happens. You only need to win 1 second ball. You might score 1 goal. If you're Brentford, that could be enough. Could be enough for a point. They're looking at it and figuring out what their best way to win is, and it's fine, but it's not fun to watch really, is it?
Yeah, okay, excellent stuff. Your control games with the scoreboard, with the clock, or with the ball. They're the options. It would be nice for Liverpool to do all 3 against Brentford. More on that in a second.
And Erdinger, please.
Stop! Don't forget the best bit.
We are in the Munro on Duke Street. We are with our friends at Erdinger. Very, very happy to be partnering with them for another year at the Anfield Wrap. Wonderful people and a wonderful pint. We're enjoying it right now. We're enjoying this Friday night. And Shaun, the manager's, I think it's fair to say, because not least because he's also said it and you've got the evidence of your own eyes, that with at least one player this season, and I'd argue that number is actually closer to 5 or 6, he has been using League or Champions League games whilst wanting to win them to try and get the fitness up.
Yeah.
And as I say, there's one obvious player where it is inarguable that's been the case, and that's Alexander Isak.
Yeah.
But I think there's a few more names in there where that's been the case over the course of the campaign. I would sort of venture that the time for that may be, if not quite over, but it is important it's dialed down. And a big part of his selection on Saturday, I think, has got to be, this is how we're going to get results. We need a result.
Yeah, 100%. What we don't want to see is the same team that played against Chelsea United just play tomorrow. And obviously injuries won't allow it to happen. But I think is just get the same lads playing 3-4 games in a row. Thing needs to go now. And I think, the only potential to counter that would be play the same team that we played on Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? Or a similar team to that. For me, Curtis Jones has to play. I think that he's proved himself every time he's come on this season. He was probably, in my opinion, our best player on Wednesday night. I feel like he will be on it on a Saturday night at Brentford. He's the guy that you want on the pitch. If I'm thinking about the midfield selection, honestly, for me, he's the first name on the team sheet. I know McAllister hasn't had the best time this season, but if there's a game that doesn't suit Alexis McAllister, it's got to be tomorrow night. Do you know what I mean? I feel like how much they're going to lump it, basically, is not going to suit him. And I feel that Jones is a physical presence. I just think even his interview the other night, that for me just screams like a lad who wants to take the responsibility and run with it. In these, not so it's not a crisis anymore, is it? But potentially if we lose tomorrow night, if we don't get a result tomorrow night, we go right back into that.
I like there was that idea that it hurts more, and I don't know about that. But what I liked was he said that I was talking more.
Yes,
that's what I really liked, and he's now of an age where that's what I want to hear from Curtis Jones. I want Curtis Jones to think, right, my job now when I'm playing centre mid for this team is I'm the responsible one, and I've got to pull all this together. And trust me, him and Szoboszlai had a muddle for their goal a little bit. It's got to be a bit better than that. But I thought second half, I thought it was, and I thought it was Jones. I thought Szoboszlai was brilliant. He was a dynamo, but I thought it was Jones who took the view of I'll look after a lot of this here. I'll just keep it moving and I'll be alert to stuff as and when it comes. And I agree with you in that I would be really disappointed if he didn't start.
I mean, imagine how we would feel if he didn't start. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that just every time he's come on at Anfield in the games where we've been chasing it and stuff, he's always been the one that's sort of been just like that extra 2 or 3%. And he mentioned that it's because he's a scouser and stuff. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but he's definitely got that mentality now, and he's definitely, you can see that he's just raising his level season after season, and this season feels like probably the best version of Curtis Jones that we've seen.
I'm not being funny, but I found it really interesting that he mentioned the Scouser thing, because I don't think as a fan base we recognise that enough. I mean, this kid's come through from Topsteth and is
The city
is-
centre.
Oh.
The city
the
centre.
city centre.
His mother gets very unhappy about that.
Yeah.
She once rang the Echo and said, "Can you stop saying he's from Toxteth?
The
He's in
city
centre."
The city centre's
Genuinely.
but genuinely just there.
Yeah.
From where we sit, just there.
Yeah, I just found it really interesting that you touched on that because I just do not think that we highlight that enough. I mean, the kid, he's not a kid anymore. He's 24 now. He's really just come on season after season. And, we don't sing the Scouser in our team for him. We did for another lad. And I just feel like he deserves it just as much. His performances have been absolutely fantastic. What I loved about Wednesday night was watching it, and before the interview, it was very Bellingham-esque. And I don't mean in terms of the play. It was the asking for the ball concept. You could see that he was talking more. And it's the partnerships that he's making all over the field. He had a great partnership with Diaz last season. He has a great partnership developing with Wirtz now. He's got a fantastic partnership developing with Ekitike and Szoboszlai, like you just mentioned. It's really, really interesting to see him come on leaps and bounds every season on season, and for Arne to mention him in the presser again as well.
I think the thing about him, I think why he probably hasn't played as much is Slot's probably thinking about what's my best team and what's the team that's going to finish the season.
Well, he loves Naka.
Yeah, and what's the team
All
that's going
managers
to
do.
Yeah. What's the team that's going to finish the season come, February onwards? And listen, Jones might not be in that. I'd love it if he was, but he might and probably won't be in that. But right now, he's what we need. Do you know what I mean? So he's got to play for me.
That's what football is. Players aren't. They don't play at the same. They don't play on a flat line for the year. They're up and down like this. So you've got to basically pick the players when they're up here, not play them when they're up here, and get them back up here. And that's how you manage them. None of them are all going to be at the same level constantly. So you flitting out. The thing I liked about Jones the other night, there's even we touched about the completed passes or whatever it was, the ridiculously high number. Even there was one where he doesn't even touch the ball, but he shows unbelievable awareness of what's going on around him. I think Van Dijk passed out to him, and he dummied it, and it goes to Robertson, I think, and it took 3 people out the game, and it set Liverpool off on a counter attack. And just you need an awareness and a confidence to do that when you're playing so deep. When let's be honest, his natural game is not about playing deep, is it? When he came through, I remember. I think he starts at Milton Keynes. Does he start Milton Keynes game? I think he plays left in front 3 that night.
Yeah.
When you used to watch him in that youth league, when him and Elliott used to play in the same team before in the afternoon Champions League games, he'd be basically playing up front pretty much because he was the best player and he was the biggest goal threat because he was the best player in that team. So now you've got him playing 20 yards further. It takes a hell of a lot of confidence and belief on top of the obvious ability to do that.
And a brain.
A brain is exactly the key thing, and that's what I'm talking about with the awareness he showed. And you have to have that in you to do it. And he's got it in abundance, hasn't he?
You want to see Szoboszlai Wirtz as well, I presume?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd go with that. I'm interested what happens at right back in that League Cup game. Here's a mad one. Do you think Calvin Ramsey might come back from the dead for that League Cup game?
Because Gomez will be at centre back.
Yeah.
With Endo.
And Bradley probably needs a...
Yeah.
We'll do the rest.
So
But you're playing Bradley right back, you go
playing
Bradley
Bradley
right.
right
Just saying, if there's any doubt around Gravenberch, I want him to hold it back until the game against Villa. If there's any, because he doesn't have to get out of bed on Wednesday, as far as I'm concerned. So we're all comfortable. That'll be everyone's midfield
maybe
three.
take him and give him 20 minutes.
Well, it depends on what you're saying. You've got McAllister as well. If you want to do that as well, he can come off the bench for 15 as well. Hopefully, if the game's sorted, what are you doing up front?
Didn't sound like Isak was going to start, so I think probably go. I think probably going to go Isak, Salah, Gakpo.
Ekitike.
Sorry, Ekitike. Yeah, I think that's probably what he'll do. I wouldn't be averse to a Chiesa thing just to see what it looks like.
Where for? Which side?
I would probably go with left, but then you've got to assume Gakpo is probably not going to play on Wednesday night, so
it might be central just because there's nobody else for Ekitike, is there?
Yeah.
Well, I think Ekitike starts, though, I thought.
Sorry, if Ekitike is to come off at some point, then that's when Chiesa would.
The one of the really good and positive, exciting thing I thought from Wednesday night was seeing Ekitike and Isak start together. It felt like for the first time, and this is quite a weird thing to say because given we won the league last year and we've got Diaz and Gakpo playing and with Salah and stuff. But it felt like we just looked like I was watching the thing, wow, there's the goals there. You're watching it and thinking, this feels really exciting. A bit like when it used to with Suarez and Sturridge, or what it used to feel like when Mane and Firmino and Salah were just coming through, and it was like, I know for a fact we're scoring today. I've got no issue, we're going to score at least 2, do you know what I mean? Whereas I feel like even last season, didn't quite feel like that, and that feels really mad because we won the league by so much. Whereas I'm looking at them two together just thinking, whenever they're fit, play them two together because they will find goals.
What point did you think Ekitike was going to score the other night? Because I think it was basically the point where it left Robertson's foot.
Yeah, me too.
Before
he even
I
gets to the
saw it in front of me and just saw him ball, and I'm like, he's got about 2 miles to run into there. I think we're going to score it.
So I think that's, if you're not careful, this turns into an argument as to what day did you want Hodgson sacked.
Yeah.
Day before we appointed him.
One of my mates did Rabbit Nicky at home, didn't he?
Yeah, called it dead, walked out to Rabbit Nicky at home and went, he's got to go.
No, his exact words were, I hate that cunt.
Both fair. In the fullness of time, both fair. I think basically when he crossed the halfway line, I was like, he scored me. I'd be amazed if he doesn't. And then there it was.
He got confidence in the centre forward to do that.
Yeah.
Which is great. We haven't, due to the styles of our centre forwards, we sort of, you wouldn't have thought Firmino was ever going to score from there, for example, despite the fact he's an unbelievable footballer. If it was Nunes, you'd be like, he
Definitely
might
not.
score. He'll definitely have a shot.
Yeah, I feel like that's
He'll definitely have a shot. Something will happen. Something's going to happen.
like a pool break.
The chance of him hitting the triangle going out of the goal is probably more likely than it going
It's just
in.
nice to have that level.
I feel that's why that Torres comparison came, because it probably is the first time since Torres that a striker has got the ball and you go,
I think Sturridge.
oh yeah, of course, Sturridge as well,
I thought the whole thing was really quite well.
Yeah.
Barber's right-footedness, I thought the whole thing was very Sturridge.
Yeah.
He's motoring here.
Yeah.
Daniel is completely in control of everything.
Yeah, Sturridge could
It's
just
going,
always finish against one-on-one against the keeper. But it was just fun to see him. I love the term open his legs and just sprint and it was just a joke. It was just a joke. He was so quick.
At the back, anyone doing anything unlikely? Is there a Gomez right-back shout for this?
No.
There's an argument for you genuinely worried about the set pieces that you do it. Because that's a way you could just play Bradley on Wednesday night as well then, and that is a way around that. I don't think he will, but if I saw Gomez at right back on the team sheet, I wouldn't be going, wow, this is a huge surprise. I'm staggered by this one.
I think that Jurgen Klopp starts Gomez.
I think you're right.
Really?
Yeah.
But I sort of think sometimes Klopp overthought things.
I agree. I think Rafa Benitez starts Gomez. I think Klopp starts Gomez. That doesn't mean it's right.
No.
I think Slot's thinking ahead and he knows that he needs Bradley for the league game, so Bradley starts this. He could put Gomez in, and like you say, I wouldn't be too worried about it because Gomez looked great the other night as well. It was great to see him come on and play with confidence and manage every minute that he was on. But I don't think he can take Bradley out of this one because down the line, then you start to have to flit with Gomez and Bradley. I think you want Bradley in for the league games. Your conundrum for Palace at right back's interesting.
Honestly, I can't even think about it, Kev, right now. I have no interest whatsoever. Play Shaun.
Yeah.
Left back.
Tidy. You look after the children, keep it ticking.
Me and goal.
Yeah.
Sorry, Freddie, I know you thought you were getting a game, but I'm having one.
Yeah.
I'd like to know if Brentford go with Aaron Hickey. I know it was another hamstring injury and obviously he was hampered by that for a couple of years. Scottish international, a fantastic footballer. If he's backing, that'll be interesting for our left back, whether that's Robertson or Kirkes, in terms of him bombing forward.
He's played him left side this season.
Oh, has he played him on the left? Okay.
He's not sure what to do with Henry because I think Henry, when we're talking about our players' fitness, he's basically not played any football for about a season and a half, so they can't quite get him match fit. He had a good pre-season, Henry, so he played Hickey left side because he's been playing Coyote right side.
That's right, and the Italian fella, he's been fantastic as well.
And he's the long throw man.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So the play Coyote will start under all circumstances. If he's got arms, you start.
He looked great against West Ham.
Yeah, and he's a good player. He's a good player on top of everything else. So he starts, and then I think it's whether or not Hickey at left wing back, Rico Henry, but I think he'll go Lewis Potter. I think that might be his one concession to be a bit more progressive, and he'll go Lewis Potter in there as well. See it all through. Just out of interest, Kirkes or Robertson at left back. In fact, no, I want to say this. Has anyone got any strong feelings? Are you bothered? Would you, if you saw one or the other, would you think either yes or no?
I'm not. I know there's been a lot of positivity around Robertson, and rightly so. He's a brilliant player. But I'm not too down about Kirkes. I think Kirkes has been all right, to be honest. And I think that
I agree with it.
I think he'll play Kirkes. It's my honest opinion.
I think he'll play Kirkes because Robertson's the vice captain, which means he captains Liverpool on
Wednesday night.
Yeah. Like, it's very hard to see Robertson starting 3 games in a week, is what I would say. And I think he's an absolute certainty to start on Wednesday. And apologies for talking about Wednesday's team here. But I think it is relevant. I think it is relevant in that point.
Yeah, I'm vice captain on Wednesday.
I think Kirkes as well. Just what I was worried about was the suggestions that the manager. I don't like the suggestions that the manager doesn't have his first team 11 in his head yet, because I think to a massive degree I think to a degree that might be true, but I also don't believe that that's a characteristic of our manager. I think that he's got a plan for Kerkez. It's just a case of getting, like I said earlier, everyone to gel and play well. He can't just abandon that plan. It would be very Brendan Rodgers to chuck that out the window and just try something else. I think Kerkez does start this one.
Okay, excellent stuff. It has been a Friday night. We are on the Munro and we have been with Erdinger. And I've finished mine. We should tell a story. See you later on.